Hello and welcome everyone, I'm C.S.Gilmore, and today we're talking about Tales from the Gilded Gob, particularly the Deceived Warlock. Now you may be wondering, what are you talking about? I'm talking about a little bit of a twist on the standard Warlock tale. Generally, a Warlock is someone who's entered into a contract with an upper power to get powers and abilities out of it. But what if they didn't mean to? What if they were forced into it? This is a role-playing aspect you could go so many places with, and your DM could go take in so many directions. Maybe your warlock has been given powers to fulfill your patron's demands. You don't want to do it, but you have to, because they're holding your family ransom. They're holding something you hold dear as you will serve me, or it's more than I'll just take away your powers. It's I'll take away everything. Everything you own. Everything you have. Everything you ever cared about. I will destroy it. While you watch. Now your character has to decide, how are you going to deal with this? And eventually, how are you going to protect your family? How are you going to save them from this power and get away from it? Fighting fire with fire. But anytime you call on those powers, it knows. So how are you going to fight it? How are you going to deal with this creature that is demanding you serve them in some ways that probably aren't going to be great? But you've got to, or else. And what are you willing to sacrifice to protect your family? Are you willing to sacrifice someone else's family? Some other city as part of this? Where do you draw the line? This is great, especially if you want to play a good character who's morally dilemmaed by what your patron asks you to do. You are told, go steal this thing, go kill this person, go do this horrible act. You don't want to. You're not that kind of person. But the patron says you must. And then where do you draw the line? Are you willing to sacrifice your family rather than drop your morals? Or are you going to sacrifice some of your morals, even temporarily, in order to buy your family some time and hopefully give yourself an opening where you can save them and stop the whatever's going on from whatever this patron is from destroying them? This also gives a really good opportunity for you to work with your party members and your DM, of course, because you can talk to your party members and be like, guys, here's my situation. Once you, like, this is great, especially after you've maybe gone on a bit of adventuring with your party. You get to that point where your character starts to trust your party members and can open up to them, rather than just, yeah, we teamed up because we were all the noobs in the area and needed to work together in order for the guild to give us a quest. Yeah, that sort of thing. You can do all sorts with that. Also, there's, well, let's see, so many ways you could play the Deceived Warlock. Classic one might also be, you were a young person, you read something in a book, you thought it would be fun to play with that ritual circle. Turns out there was something to it. Now you're stuck. And what are you going to do about it? Is your patron not so kind to you? Is your patron actually very kind, but maybe in a very manipulating way? And once again, what are they asking of you? Now then, let's think here. There's certainly other ways a warlock could be deceived. Maybe you could also have the patron who seems like a great patron. They're nice. They seem to be asking you to do all this good stuff. And then the betrayal. Turns out all those items your patron had you going out to collect and protect from falling into the hands of evil entities that were otherwise there around them. Well, turns out your patron is actually using you to get those for them. Your patron is the evil entity. And congratulations, you've unleashed a horror upon the world. Deal with it. How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to stop your patron from getting loose, or have they already gotten loose? How are you going to put them back before they wreak havoc upon the nation, upon the world, upon everything you know and hold dear? Generally, like the deceived warlock probably does favor having a more evil patron. Though that would also be a really funny twist. An evil warlock who accidentally signed a contract with a really good patron, and they want to do all these evil things, but the patron says no. You're doing the good stuff. You're helping these people. You don't want to? Too bad. You want my power? You're going for it. We signed a contract. You can't just back out. Maybe there's some really nasty consequences if you do. You're kind of being suckered into it. That's a great one for character development over time, as your character maybe becomes a good person while initially starting off as not so good. You don't want to help people. You don't want to do good. You don't want to save the world. Maybe you just want to go home, take a nap. Maybe you want to do your own thing. You wanted power for your own sake. Bit of that power hungry warlock thing coming in. But maybe it's not working out for you so well. Because you oopsied and made a divine connection instead of an infernal one when you were aiming for it. Yeah, well, should have read that instruction manual a little tighter when you were filling out those chalk outlines, right? You can do all sorts of fun things with a warlock, and with patrons. Your DM too. Trust me, your DM will screw with you if they're feeling like it. I personally, as a player, when I'm playing, I give myself a backstory, but I leave a lot of open space for expanding, for growing as the circumstances allow, as we play things out and we learn how our characters are really going to handle. Because sometimes we have an idea for a character and then it really plays differently. Because the dice said so, because how we ended up playing just didn't quite fit what we had initially thought we were going to be playing. That opens up for developing your character better in a way that maybe fits more organically for the character, and it leaves your DM room to go, hey, so you mentioned you had done all this when you were younger, but what if this? What if you had actually thought you had done that? What if your memories are false, but you had actually done this? What if you had all of these goals and plans and dreams, and none of them were yours? What if you had this defining moment that led you to the path of adventure? The loss of your loved ones at the hand of this vile tyrant. But it wasn't the vile tyrant that killed your family after all. And now, here you are, ending up serving the thing that led you down this path, forced you down it perhaps even, for their own goals. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to back out of your deal? And if so, how are you going to avoid the consequences of that? Or how are you going to live with the consequences of doing that? After all, starting from scratch at a later level is very hard. Or maybe you aren't going to start from scratch. Maybe there's going to be a workaround for the situation. Are you going to confront and also, like, are you going to confront your patron? Are you going to be like, wait, that was you? And are you going to see why your patron did that? as a good thing, a bad thing, maybe you didn't like any of it, but you now with hindsight you realize they did it for a good purpose. Yeah, maybe your patron did something that at the time was horrible and led you on the path of adventure, but they did it because that was the only way they knew how to get you off your butt to go save the world or to doom it. After all, patrons are entities too, and they're not perfect. I mean, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons generally. Here, even the gods tend to screw up. Even so, yeah. Which is to say that an archfey, not familiar with the human world, human qualities, human needs, is going to lead you down the path you want. Maybe they think they are, but they don't understand how humans work. That's a whole other path of the deceived warlock there. Uh, you may deal for a thing, but you and the patron were on different pages. The Google Translate did not translate right between your two language barriers, and you thought you were getting X, and your patron thought you were getting Y, and now you've got Z. And maybe you and your patron are both unhappy. But that would be a fun twist too. What if you both got deceived? Because something went completely wrong. Maybe a third party intervened in your warlock ritual. You got a patron you didn't want, and the patron got a person they didn't want. Maybe they didn't even want a servant or someone to share their power with. Maybe they didn't want to share their power, but they got roped into it, and now you're both out there trying to figure out who screwed you both over, who put this in, who did this, and why. That's something that gives your DM so much ammo to play with. Your DM is going to be over there cackling in a corner going, all right, now then, what if they did this because they actually knew putting these two together was going to just tick off both of them, and they just did it for kicks and giggles? That they're maybe you've got some Loki level deceiver god just playing the prank. Maybe it's someone out to get their own goals fulfilled, but you just got caught in the crossfire. There are so many things you can do with this sort of concept, and I'm probably forgetting a few of them I wanted to talk about. But I'm going to leave it here for now. Comments below. Have you ever played a this sort of situation for a warlock? If so, how did you work with your DM to make it happen? How did you work with your party? How did it go? Good, bad, ugly? Did you have fun with it? How did you pull it off? Comments below. Let me know. I love talking about this sort of stuff. Once again, respect each other. Keep it safe for family and all that. Respect each other's opinions and differences. Have fun with it, though. Comments below. Let me know how it went. And, hit like, hit subscribe to keep up with the releases if you're new here and haven't done so already. And thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.